Good morning, holiday traders. Let's see if anybody jumps on. Hey, Hex, how you doing? Long time no see. How are we doing, guys? I have to apologize for my sound a little bit like Donald Duck with this cold. Raj, what's up? How are you? You gonna make money to pay for Christmas? Well, bless your consumerism. The world economy thanks you for getting out there and spending some loot. Hey, Kev, how you doing? Alexander, how are you? Ronan, what's up? Hey, Kevin. How's Cape Cod? Badir, how are you? Hope you had a good holiday. What's up, Kevin? Oh, boy. Well, let's see. What are we up to today? I hope nobody got short over the holiday. That's a massive pain in the butt to be short over a holiday. How's Ohio? Lots of snow? All right. We're going to do a shortened session. Today, we'll just run through stuff. Make sure you guys are taken care of. All right, so I'm using, okay, Friday, not Friday, why am I thinking Friday? Because all right, Christmas Eve was a shortened session. Now, the market profile guys, the old guys, they tell you to use the last RTH, the last full RTH. And so we're looking at that. And if you're looking at that close, the session from Friday and tonight's inventory, everything's long. This morning I said 69.73 quarter, 69.73. I said that if that level doesn't break, I said that's the piñata low. That level needs to break for all this inventory to come spilling out. We'll look for a break of that in RTH today. So right now it's just very, very, typical tight holiday trading pattern. Pretty much I'm the only institutional knucklehead that's actually doing a stream. But I thought you guys would probably start going a little snaky. So let's map it out. VWAP I've got down here. We're just going back and forth over VWAP. We have sellers at 85.5. We have sellers here just at 82.5 as well. We poked our head above it for about a couple of minutes and came back down. When we open, expect chop. Okay, you're going to expect choppy trading conditions. Very little follow through. Really, you want to make sure that you take trades that are worth it, right? You don't want to be screwing around just losing money, right? There's no point. So make your trades count. Okay. Yeah. Hope everybody had a good Christmas. Oh, it's nice to have some time off. This is my first time working this week in three years. Usually we're away and I don't do any streams for 2 weeks. And that's always nice. Just not even care what the market does for 2 weeks. That's what you should all aspire to. Right? You all want to have that institutional mindset where you make your money and then you relax. Right? So next holiday season, you'll want to have made your money, gotten your wire transfer done, sit around and relax and enjoy the holiday, right? That's the goal. Maybe be in a place that has no internet access. You know? Would it be normal for there to be a New Year dump? There should be an inventory correction. Now, that's a good question, Hex. Because people... Now, what's the difference between a dump and an inventory correction? An inventory correction, sure. But a massive sell-off? What have you guys experienced in these markets? What happens to these markets every time we have a sell-off, right? Even the big one, market goes to new highs, right? So it's okay to expect an inventory correction and trade it. Nothing wrong with that. Make your money. I'm all for that. You got to remember, I was trained by a short seller who's one of the most feared short sellers on the street in the small cap arena, and he actually used to have to wear a bulletproof vest to work because people would try and take him out all the time. So I have nothing against short selling, but you got to have a seller to be a short seller. You understand what I mean? You can't short sell a market where nobody's selling, right? It doesn't make any sense. You've got to look for that seller. And that's what I try and teach you guys to do using the smaller time frame charts, right? Because if there's no seller, what's the point of short selling? You need sellers to compete for the price to go down, right? If you don't have that happening, well, then things get ugly. That's how you guys all get trapped. Everyone I know is trapped. I'm not saying I've never been trapped in a bad short, but you should only have to be trapped in a bad short to learn once. If you keep getting trapped short in a market, it means you are not paying attention to the business, right? So if you're not paying attention to the business, you are going to get trapped over and over and over and over again. I would say, Hex, if we get a liquidation, yeah, well, you'd be wrong, Mr. Simpson. Again, they're trapped short under 73. They're trapped short here. They're trapped short here. And they're trapped short here. That's going into Christmas. There's a lot of people. When there is a long seller, when someone is liquidating from a long position, at lab, that's when you short. When you identify that the seller exists in a market, then you short. How do you identify when a seller exists? These are good questions. Well, when the market offers and offers and offers and offers lower, and you guys get that trend down, you guys love trend lines, right? It's a business, right? So we had a seller here at 82.5. They saw buyers. They're raising the offer. Now let's see if we can get past 83.25 and start. If you can print the 84s, it means the sellers are seeing buyers and they're raising price. Right? After every liquidation, this market moves back up higher on pretty much all time frames. Why is that? Well, because the market has limited supply. And the wholesalers who own the supply, their job is to try and get as much from that supply as possible. Right? Right? So, yeah. You got to understand also the market is a mechanism to sell things to people, right? That's why they call it a market, not a hot tub or a jacuzzi. Right? We're there to sell you something. If everything we sold you went down right after you bought it, there wouldn't be a lot of investor confidence now, would there? Right? Right? Understand the business. Right now, I'm not seeing an inventory correction lower because we're getting bids at VWAP. So that's telling me short term, the bids are here. Right? They're here. It's 81 bid right now. Christmas Eve cost basis is there. Overnight cost basis is there. If the order flow supports, we'll like to sell it up here in this area here. Look for chop on the open between where we are and that's 69.89. Now the problem is if we take out this overnight high, and if we take out, what's that level? I've got, we're right there, 69.89. If we start taking out 89 and taking out that overnight high at 90, we'll be looking for the all-time highs again. Let's hope we get some liquidation. All right. I like a two-sided market. I'm not always biased long. But my bias reflects the business. Do you guys understand that? You guys talk about bias all the time. Do you understand that your bias has to actually reflect what's going on? Like, you just can't be short biased because I like shorting. Yeah, well, I like ice cream sundaes, but that doesn't help me lose weight, right? I like shorting. Yeah, who cares? Right? Who cares what you like? Right? But does your bias actually reflect what the chart is telling you? As far as, oh, how's it going? Right? Your bias has to actually reflect reality, right? So at some point in your trading career, if you decide to do this for a living, you're going to have to snap out of your fantasy land and get with reality. And that is what we try and teach you at the Trading Syndicate. Luis, sorry, Hermano, my Spanish is not that good. If you could translate, I'd be happy to answer the question. I trade ES, that's it. We have lots of traders in our room who do trade gold. Whoop. I trade one market. I like to trade it well. Why ES over NQ? Because it's a thicker market. And I know it really well. What do I mean to the business? Have you guys ever heard of Wall Street? Attila, have you ever heard of Wall Street? JP Morgan, Goldman Sachs. Concepts work on any asset. Yeah, definitely. The concepts of inventory work on everything. I've got levels for stocks that work to the penny. Right? It's just getting inventory and selling inventory. That's all we're doing, folks. So there's a business. Do you realize who asked me about the business? Attila? Right? You've heard of Wall Street, right? Do you understand that the chart you're looking at is a reflection of business transactions that are taking place? Do you guys get that? Do you realize that this is not just like some video game, right? That the business transactions are being recorded on a chart. So if you have no idea what's going on in the business, you're obviously going to trade the chart very, very badly. And that's why retail traders don't make money, because they have no clue what's going on. Right? And some idiot on YouTube or some influencer says, do this, do that, and shows a bunch of fake trading profits, and everybody goes for it. Where you should be learning the business. Because the business is this. So the people who bought inventory here sold it here, the price remained stable, and it brought in more buyers. Markets are simple. Trading is not easy. Retail trading is one of the hardest things you'll ever do. But it's simple. And those who try and overcomplicate it, well, they're either trying to keep you on the hook and sell you all sorts of different software and crap. Order flow software. That has got to be the biggest bullshit I've ever seen in my life. Order flow software. You know, they've taken order flow, they've turned it into a marketing term. And they're selling people thousands of dollars worth of software every month. It's brutal. So let's see where our trades are off the open. Okay, we've got a seller at 84.5 now. Now, how do you know where there's a seller? It's the top of the candle. The top of the candles are where the sellers engage. Okay, the bottom of the candles are where the sellers stopped selling. All right? The sellers set the price according to how many buyers come in. So if a lot of buyers come in, we're like, great, lots of suckers. Let's raise prices, right? But what if we're selling sunglasses and it's raining? We don't have as many suckers. So we've got to lower price and get rid of our inventory. Very important. There's got to be common sense in business. Trading is a business. What's going on in the room, folks? You guys awake? You still turkeyed out, eh? Everyone's still got the tryptophan haze going. That's cool. That's cool. Yeah, exactly. But here, exactly. Yeah, exactly. A good vacation to have, my friend. You have a stomach ache? Go take some Tums and go lie down. Enjoy your holidays, guys. Don't be a slave to the screen. Right? If you see your setup, take it. But if you're going to sit around and wait hours for a setup, right? We're looking for an inventory correction. Right? Of course, I'm short biased just looking at the inventory, but right now, uh, there's just too many bids around 81, 82. Oh, you're going to Cancun. Nice. Nice. Hopefully, you have some nice, beautiful, perfect weather. I've never been. I hear it's beautiful. How many hours a day does one trade? Well, depends, Attila. Do you have a job? If you have a job, it's going to kind of limit how many hours you trade. I like to do my trading in 2 or 3 trades and be done, right? I like to be done my trading and then done. I like to do my 2 or 3 trades, make a little scratch, right? Now, I do different things for income too. I don't just trade, right? I teach, I consult, I take companies public. Um, and I think that's important to have multiple sources of income so you're not. See, when you depend on trading for all of your income, you have a tendency to get into bad situations if you're not a professional, right? If you're not a professional, you have a tendency to get into trades because you're forcing the issue and you're trying to make money. Hey, Fish Lips, how you doing? Yeah, I make my money and I'm gone. I like fast trades. I like to scalp, right? I like a, a trade for me. Let's see. Well, today's kind of sucky, but if I had been in front of the screen, I was out all morning and I just got back to do the session. Say I had bought 67.80 against 79 as my stop, so I was long here. I'd sell a little at 81, a little at 84. I'd be out by 84 on 10 contracts and then be done. I like fast trades. I have a set in I have rules and conditions under which I will do business. If those rules and conditions do not present themselves, then I don't do business, right? And it took me years to be able to put that in a way that hopefully people understand. It's very hard for people to understand how markets work, and that's what we try and do here in our trading room. Try and educate people, and that's why I do these streams for free because, hopefully somebody will understand and pay attention. You can make money on a 5 point move or a $5 move. Well, I trade futures, right? So each point is $50. So do the math, Attila. If you do a 3-point trade, right? Doesn't sound like a lot of money, right? So a 3-point trade is 150 bucks. If you do that on 8 contracts, that's $1,200. If you do that every day, there's 20 trading days in a month. That's 24 grand a month. What do you think? Do you think you can make 20 grand a month? Right? So remember, futures are 50 bucks a point. All you need is 3 points. Then you're not blowing your brains out every day, stuck in bad trades, looking for these jerk off 30-point moves that everybody on YouTube saying they're catching when they're not. And you're blowing up accounts left, right, and center. Make your money and get out. Don't be stupid, people. Right? Be smart. Right? 2026 is coming up. Your New Year's resolution is to be smart. Your New Year's resolution is to sign up with the trading syndicate, sign up for some one-on-one coaching, learn the business. I'll get you profitable. I care that you guys are profitable. I have taken billions of dollars off of retail investors over 25, 30 years by selling you guys stock every day. Hundreds of millions of dollars of stock a day, right? I was an executing trader for insiders. I've always traded for the smart money. What I'm doing now is I'm trying to educate people who have no idea what they're doing. So first of all, they don't lose all their money, and then they can make an income, right? You should trade for income, not glory. Those who trade for glory don't last very long. Make an income. You'll be surprised how much $100 a day adds up. The trick is not to lose it. Here we go. Let's see what they got in the tickle trunk this morning. Right? So we found the bid right at the overnight point of control. 81 bid, taking out the upper stops. Right? Went right by that 85 seller like they weren't even there. Okay, let's see if we could take out 87 and a quarter and see how well the levels work. Seller at 86. Okay. Now we're going to come down and let's see if we can hold the close of Christmas. There's a lot of money in those crumbs, Big Pun. I love the name. I'm going to go listen to him after this. Gotta love the Big Pun. If we stay under VWAP, look for a break of 79. If you're a short seller, look for... We need that seller. Come on now. Sell off like a normal market. See that stubborn bids here at 79.80. There we go. I'm short 80 and 3/4. I covered some at 79.5. I'm just scalping the micro just because I've got a cold and my reflexes are not that great. So I'm just scalping along. And I scratched the last contract I had. Hey, AO, what's going on? Just be smart. Find out where the sellers are, and as soon as those sellers leave, get the hell out of a short. Let's see if it stays. We did a little look below VWAP. What did I try and do? I tried to buy 82.5 and I couldn't get any. I was too slow. So that didn't work. Let's see if it stays above. where the sellers were before. Not a lot of follow through yet. Let's see. We'll wait for the shorts to come in and cover. See, there's that seller. There's the seller right there at 84.5 again. I said it was going to be choppy, and it is. Yeah, there's a flu going around the UK. Like, ooh, like one of the gals in our building got the flu, and I think she gave it to the whole building. uh, so remember, if you long, you know that there's a seller right there, right? Right here. Let's see if we can get past that. Okay, good. I bought some at 82.5 this time. And I got 3 contracts long at 82.5. I'm out one at 85.5. The other one, oh, hey, look at that. You gotta love it when they run. I'm flat. I'm done. Done like dinner. See, I tried that short, and I had to scratch my last contract. That short told me that the bid was in. So, old traders, what they do is they short the market until they find the bid. When they find the bid, that's when they turn around and go long, right? It's a very old, that's what old people do, right? You short a market down to the bid. When you find the bid, you cover. Cham, what's up? Hope you got some sleep, brother. Oh, good. Do you need a special keyboard? Oh, good God, no. No. Listen, all you need to trade, you have to have the ability to draw a straight line and pay attention. You don't need any special tools. Those people who use those stream decks and all of that, they all overtrade, right? You're not a market maker. You don't need to do 100 trades an hour, right? You'll be fine. You don't need anything special, just a regular. You know what? I know a billionaire who uses one monitor. I know a guy who sold his last trading shop for like $1.6 billion. He uses one monitor. I have a lot of monitors. Too many. Every time I try and decrease my monitors, I always go down to 2. And then for some reason, I end up buying one. It's actually somebody moved out of my building. We have a lot of foreign students. They gave me 2 free monitors. They're like, here. Like, damn, I'm back. Back to 4. But you really only need one. You need one. See, the only thing I use here is the chart that you're seeing on both sides, right? You just need one monitor, 1 or 2. 2's nice, but not necessary. The thing is, folks, you don't have to spend too much money, right? When you're learning, until you get profitable, try and keep, right? What does a smart business person do? They try and keep their business expenses down. When you find the bid, you find where they stop selling. Little known fact, the bid is where the wholesalers stop selling. Now, how did I know this? Because I was a wholesaler for 25 years, right? So we look for the market to go down, find the bid, find where the buyers are. Once we find those buyers, we'll stop selling and we'll raise price. Yeah, it's like for you guys, you'll see a down candle reject, like this, right? Because I was short here, I was shorting it here, and then as soon as I saw that it couldn't take out 79, uh-oh, better cover. So that's how old traders have traded for centuries, right? They go and they find where the bids are. Once they find the bid, they work off of it. Now, this is language that you guys don't understand or never heard, right? Because you've never heard, oh, what's the bid? Well, the bid is where those big buyers, especially the short sellers, are waiting to cover. You see, and as soon as you know that you've got people trapped short in the market, right? Remember, short selling is really for hedging and that stuff. Not everybody goes long. So when you have shorts that are trapped, is your moral obligation to squeeze them as hard as you can, like they're doing now. Right? And as soon as you know that your shorts are trapped, you can start the squeeze. See? Now we're going to distribute at that overnight high because I don't think we have that much buying. So we'll try and sell all the product that we've got underneath 81, 82. We're going to try and sell it up here, right? See, the other thing is you guys have to understand that wholesalers, they sell their product as soon as they see buyers. You never wait around for an invitation, to sell. You never ever wait for an invitation. Because there's other people selling. And if you don't sell, well, they'll be like, well, thanks for the customers. Right? Get it? That's why price goes down. Because sellers compete. Right? Everybody says buyers and sellers fight each other. They don't. Let's see if we can move the point of control up here. You see all this buying here above the overnight high? This is all shorts who are using that as a stop. They're coming into cover. That's what that is. That's what that is. So what do you do for here? Just wait. See if we accept underneath the overnight high again. If we don't accept under the overnight high, you can use these levels. Our target will be 69.98 and a quarter. Sorry, first target is 93 3/4. Hey, all right, how you doing? Buyers and sellers transact, exactly. I got stuff for sale, you need to buy stuff. So, Michael, you know how they say buyers and sellers are fighting each other? Imagine going into a store. I want to buy a pair of shoes, and the salesman punches you in the face. That just doesn't make any sense, does it? Right? Why would buyers and sellers fight each other? Like, that's why sometimes in retail trading, you hear the dumbest shit ever spouted. Buyers and sellers are fighting each other. Yeah, I went into McDonald's to buy a Big Mac and the employees beat the crap out of me. Yeah. I'm good, all right. How you doing? You see how ridiculous it sounds? uh, Buyers and sellers fighting each other. Beautiful. Look at that. Point of control at 69.90. Moved up. Yeah, unless they're fighting for the last cashmere sweater, that's two buyers fighting each other, right? You're fighting for the last McRib. Yeah, it's just a business. Everybody's doing business. So you see how these people on YouTube and oh yeah, the buyers and the sellers are fighting and the buyers are winning and it's like, oh my God. Do you guys actually have two brain cells to rub together? Right? It's just a business. Nobody wants to fight doing business. They'll fight other competitors. They're not going to fight somebody who's coming in to buy. Oh, speaking of fighting, we're fighting to stay awake. Oh, let's check in the coin of bitterness to see how the coin of bitterness is doing. 88,400. It's up 1,200 bucks. See if Bitcoin can get above that 200-day moving average. Hey, Brian Gardner, how you doing? Hope you guys had a good Christmas vacation. Now, the shorts are trapped underneath the overnight high. Okay? Anybody who would have shorted would have used the overnight high as a stop. That's why you see that point of control there, right? 1,800 contracts. That's size. All of this size buying is coming from two sources. One are short sellers, and then other are FOMO longs, right? As this thing goes higher and higher, the more people who short it here will have to race to cover, and that will push price up. Because the people who own the product here at the cost basis, that's why you guys should learn what cost basis is, right? If you understand inventory and cost basis, you're going to be so far ahead of everyone else. You'll just be blowing people away because they won't even understand what you're talking about. You'll be making money, right? Right. A classical business like a store, startup capital costs are more. Your liabilities are more, insurance and all that sort of thing. The business costs are more. The one thing about it is, I mean, if you're located in a good business, Michael, then, it's a beautiful thing to have a nice store that sells things, but it all depends on what you're selling. Retail trading as a business is a difficult one, right? And I'll tell you this from a guy who used to, work for the smart money to come into retail. Retail's hard. Retail trading is hard. That's why we show up every day, twice a day, and try and help people learn, because we're really, really committed to try and help normal people make a living in this. It's really hard to do. It can be done, And we give you all the tools, but you've got to have discipline and you've got to have a good business model. Now, what is a good business model in retail trading? Well, a good retail trading business model hinges on a couple of things. One is understanding a little bit about the business. You don't have to know the intricacies of market making and all that sort of thing. All you have to know is when supply runs out, you need to be long, and when too much supply comes in, you need to be short. Where do you put your risk? Well, when supply runs out, you need to be long, you need to have your risk here, and you're short, your risk is there. Because if the market takes out those levels, then you are mispriced in your inventory. Right? If I buy 83 hoping to sell at 87 and somebody offers at 79, then I'm holding inventory that's not priced properly. Right? And you have to know where your inventory is priced. Now I said 69.93 3/4 is my first target, and we're at we hit 94. Okay. And that's off this chart, folks. These are my longer term levels. So 94 was our high, then it'll be 7,003, but I'm using these 1 minute levels too to see whether or not, oh, look at that. Now we're going to get some liquidation. Great. So they started selling at 2, 1. If we break 90 and take out that low down there at 89, let's see if we can get underneath the overnight low. If we can get underneath the overnight low, look for a move back down to 87. There we go. Under the overnight low. Now let's see where the bid comes in, right? Because last time the bid was here at 79. Then it kind of moved up to 86. Let's see where they come in now. So if you were short 92 with 94 as a stop, right, you'd be putting some bids down here at 89, 88, and you'd bid the market here. And you'd use your orders to tell you whether or not your trade is working. So say you're short 10 contracts at 92, right? And you put an 89 bid and it gets filled. Beautiful. What about your 88 half bid? What about your 88 bid? If those bids here don't get filled, then you know there's not enough supply. Right? There you go. There you go. Now your second bid gets filled. Right? But your third one still is unfilled. Use your orders to tell you what's going on in the business. This way, you're not whistling Dixie while everyone's trading around you. Your third order just got filled. Nice. See? Simple. No indicators, no bullshit software, just some common sense. Right? Excuse my language. I don't usually swear. I've got a cold. Right? Leave all the BS at home, folks. Learn how to trade, make some money, enjoy your life. Right? You don't have to spend $5,000 on a trading computer and all this fancy software that they're trying to sell you, which is just snake oil. Right? Most of the people who sell you order flow software, I wouldn't hire to clean the bathroom at my brokerage firm. Right? Down past VWAP, let's see if we could take out that 79. My area of interest is down here. 73, I'd love to see 73 break. Right? I'm just sick and tired of hardworking people getting taken advantage of. Oh, buy this. I'll teach you volume analysis. You have people out there teaching volume analysis who have never traded volume. How would they know? Right? One of my guys, who was at Lear, he showed me this website last week about these guys who do volume analysis. And I read it, and they were talking about block trades and stuff like that, and they knew nothing. I was like, holy crap. How could people teach you about block trades if you've never done a block trade? Like, come on. Get real. Look below and fail of 81 3/4. Let's see if we can push her up to 87. Should be a seller somewhere here. It's choppy and rotational, right? So far, no big, huge liquidation. Right. So we'll keep you guys through this next half hour. I'll shut her down here, and when the next half hour opens, want you guys to enjoy your holidays a little bit. Remember, if you are trading today, don't go nuts, right? And even into the end of the year, just be careful, right? Those last couple of weeks of the year, this is where you want to save and protect all that money that you made this year. That's your goal, right? That's your goal. I started watching this TV show. It's about a hedge fund guy who loses his job and then he goes around stealing like expensive watches and stuff. It's hilarious. Sorry, folks, if I mute myself, it's because I'm coughing. We might be just rotating this area here for a while. Just back and forth, back and forth. Anybody have any questions? That's it. Yeah, your friends and neighbors. That was the one. It's hilarious. Sorry about that. Little coughing fit. Well, we're pretty much close to all-time highs now. See you Monday, Badir. Have a good one. And I'm coughing a lot, so I'm muting myself a lot. What I'm going to do is I'll let you guys go. Have a wonderful, wonderful holiday. We'll see you all on Monday. We'll get back to business. Please be safe out there. Don't throw your money away. Thanks, everyone. Yeah, I'm coughing a lot, so I'm just going to shut her down a little early. Thank you so much. Have a wonderful holiday. See you Monday. Bye for now. Have a safe weekend.